Welcome into Giants Postgame Live, presented to you by NFL All Day. Madelyn, Burke, Paul Dottino, Super Bowl champion Amani, Toomer, guys. Giants improved to 4-1 for the first time with that record since 2009 after a win 27-22 over the Green Bay Packers in London. Amani channeling that DJ Khaled voice. They didn't believe in us.
But God did.
What a win for the New York Football Giants, improving to 3-0 in London as well. But Paul, the thing that stands out is the way Daniel Jones played today.
I think we should all sprain an ankle right now so we could just have a phenomenal show for the next hour. I mean,
hey, they do say break a leg, so it's kind of...
Consider this now. Daniel's ankle was almost the size of a tennis ball after the game the other day. And over the course of the last couple of days, the swelling went down, and he was able to practice, and the Giants were like, hey, he's looking good. We're going to play him. And Amani, man, did he play.
Oh, absolutely. The execution, the toughness that he's shown throughout the game, everybody's talking about his ankle. He took a couple of hits, big hits, stayed in the pocket, threw the ball down the field. It was one of these, this is a career-defining game for Daniel Jones. This is the best I've seen him play under duress than I've seen him in his entire career. This is a game that's going to set him apart from what he was to what he is now.
Right, and we even saw that close-up of that bloody hand. We've heard these players talk about how tough Daniel Jones can be, but he really showed some grit out there. Another player, though, who's shown a lot of praise for DJ, but had a game himself, Saquon Barkley, running that rock. We saw him go out for a period of time with a shoulder injury, but he was able to come back in this game. What do you see from Saquon today?
You know, Barkley has become such a dirty yards runner. In addition to making the big plays, you see his numbers there, and I get it. 13 for 70, looks kind of sweet. But you know what, Amani? It was his grit. It was his toughness. It was his ability to lower his shoulder even after he got hurt and continue to try to push the pile. And then after he goes out, like you said, Madelyn, he comes back in and he's like, no, let's go. Let's just go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you not love that?
Comes back in with a 40-yard run without skipping a beat.
Yeah, I mean, the big plays is what he really brings to this offense. The fact that he can change flip the whole field with some of his plays and the consistency. You know, I like it when we were talking about this, we were watching the game. When he gets the ball and he takes the first couple steps up the field with power, he is unstoppable. And sometimes he catches the ball and he kind of doesn't have a hole to go to. That's when he's just human. Other than that, this guy, I mean, he's worth everything that, people say you shouldn't have picked him second overall. This is a game changer. This is a game breaker. Second overall was a steal.
Saquon said coming into this season he wanted to prove to this organization that the guy they drafted number 2 overall is still there. We've seen him leading the league in scrimmage yards, leading the league in rushing yards, running this offense through him. Another guy on offense who had a great game today, Darius Slayton. He's on the field with our Sean O'Hara.
All right, Darius, what an unbelievable finish to this game. Big game for you, obviously. 79 yards receiving. You had to step up. You guys were only had 4 receivers in today's game. You were down a couple of guys. Take us through what went down today offensively. What was your mindset?
Man, it's been a hectic week. Traveling, we had, like you said, we only had 4 guys today, but, I believe in my guys. I believe in myself, and we were able to come out here and get it done today.
Take me through this whole game right here offensively. What was your mindset? All right, how are we going to attack this defense knowing that we were so thin at the position?
Yeah, so I think, if you kind of notice, I kind of had a couple of those crosses. We kind of noticed they had some vacancies in that area, and obviously, with my speed, I'm able to get over there real fast, and we were able to take advantage of that early, and it paid off for us.
Finishing drives was such a big part of this game, finding a way to get some touchdowns. There was some creativity. How many times did you guys run some of those plays?
Man, it's a tough league to score, man. Especially once you get inside the 10-5, it's tough. But, Bellinger made a great play on his play, and then obviously Saquon ran us in over there, so we were able to execute better down there.
Slay, great stuff, man. Great game by you. Congratulations. Enjoy that flight, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
All smiles is that sound from Darius Slayton, brought to you by Ford. Let's take a look at today's numbers. Amani, he was your above the numbers guy this week. Paul, you guys both talked about it earlier in the week. What are your impressions?
Well, we did. First of all, let me make something very clear. Darius Slayton knew he was going to have a key role, and this week he worked extra after practice by himself with David Sills on the jugs gun. Spent a lot of extra time, not just a few minutes. Amani, you know what that's about. Sometimes guys need to hone their craft and go out there there on their own. It's the work you do when people don't see you that can make the difference. By the way, the 6 catches for him today ties for his 3rd most in the game and the most he's had in a game since week 6 of the 2020 season. Darius Slayton is back.
He's definitely back with a vengeance. I talked to him during training camp. He was a little frustrated about his opportunities and about constantly being shuffled around with the different coaching staffs that come in. I said, hey, look, this is not made for you. This is made for you to get in where you fit in. Obviously, he's stuck around. He's got his opportunities and taken advantage of them. There's a lot of guys that wouldn't mentally stay in tune with the situation. Everybody else getting targets and catches. This is a guy that the Giants need, not because of his speed. He talked about it in the interview with Sean O'Hara. The fact that he can stretch the field and be a legitimate threat downfield is something that this Giant offense is really, really lacking.
And just remember something, Madelyn, he took a pay cut to stay.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay?
Absolutely.
He took a pay cut. He wanted to be here.
Mm-hmm. And this was the get-right game that he needed. Darius Slayton in London playing on a whole nother level right now. We're going to send it back to Tottenham Hotspur where Sean O'Hara is on the field with Dexter Lawrence.
All right, Dexter, man, another big sack. Take us through the big play. You basically dump truck the right guard and swallowed up Aaron Rodgers. Take us through that big play.
The whole day, we just been putting pressure on him. The DBs held him up long enough. We collapsed the pocket on him. He stepped up my way, and I brought him down.
He's the NFL's MVP. You guys knew this was going to be a big challenge. But at the end, you guys even got you got to swallow him up again on the final play as well. Talk about this defense and the mindset you guys had coming into this game.
I just kept telling them that we good. They make a play, we all pros, they're going to make plays, but I just kept telling them we good, stay confident, stay tuned on your keys, and we're going to come out with the victory.
What did Wink Martindale say to you guys on that final drive? You guys were down a couple corners, Adoree was out, Fabian was cramping up. What did he say to you guys?
Yeah, he was just saying, stay with it, keep being disciplined, keep fighting for each other, and you'll see what's going to happen.
We saw the dance show up after the sack, so it's official. Sexy Dexy has gone international.
Hey, I'm trying to teach them how to dance a little bit.
All right. Thanks, Dexter. Good stuff, man. Enjoy that flight.
Thank you.
I love that right there. Sexy Dexy Dance has gone international. That sound is brought to you by Ford right there. But one of the things that we've seen as a point of emphasis for this team, winning in the trenches, Dexter Lawrence's 3rd sack in the last 2 games. Without Leonard Williams, his kind of running mate behind him or next to him, he's still been very active these last couple weeks.
It was very disappointing not to see Leonard Williams play, Madelyn, because the Giants were really hoping, guys, that he was going to be able to give it a go, but they held him out with that sprained knee. I thought Lawrence had 5 tackles, limiting the Packers to 94 yards on 20 carries. Now, that is a potent 1-2 punch that the Packers have in their running game. And let's not forget Jalen Smith, who also has done a great job the last couple of weeks with his run fits. Mm-hmm. And he has really kind of helped mitigate the loss of Leonard Williams.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you're down people, you want the guys around to step up, and Dexter Lawrence definitely did that. This is just, it was overall, the defensive line, you're talking about the overall push, the push that the defensive line really got, it was impressive. It's something that we haven't seen around here for a long time, and that's what makes this win so great. It's not just because we won the game in London and all that stuff against Aaron Rodgers, but the whole team looks different. Like, both sides of the ball are pushing people around. Physical football. It reminds you of the Giants of the old.
Yeah.
Assertive and determined.
Exactly.
Assertive and determined, and no matter the injuries, the next man up, they're playing for this head coach. They're playing tough. And it's fun to see 4-1 after a 27-22 win over the Green Bay Packers. We've got a lot more to come, though. We're going to continue breaking this one down. But first, guests of our post-game show received a gift certificate to Ben & Jack's, located on 44th Street in Manhattan. From the celebrated porterhouse to finer seafood, Ben & Jack's will surpass your expectations of what a steakhouse should be. Stay with us. After the break, we're going to hear from head coach Brian Daboll. That and so much more here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by NFL All Day. Hey, Giants fans, join us Sunday, October 16th, Giants vs. Ravens, as the team celebrates Latino Heritage Month, presented to you by Ford. Arrive early to partake in several plaza activations, including food sampling, salsa dancing, live music, and celebrity artist DJ Camilo performing during pregame warm-ups and select times throughout the game. Limited tickets are available. Visit Giants.com/tickets to secure your seat today. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, presented to you by NFL All Day. The Giants come away with a win in London town, 27-22 over the Green Bay Packers. And guys, week in and week out, we look at the way this team pulls off a win, finds a way to come out ahead, and wonder, is this sustainable? But Paul, during the break, one of the things you pointed out is no turnovers, not shooting themselves in the foot. How important is that?
Well, it's huge. You know, Tom Coughlin would always tell us, and Amani, you remember these days very well, you can't shoot yourself in the foot because more games are lost than they are won. Tom used to rehearse that every week, okay? I looked at this game, and I saw a ball bounce funny on both sides of the spectrum where either the Packers or the Giants could have had a turnover that did not occur. Sometimes the football gods just have to embrace you. And really, that's what happened here today, because that ball that got away on the punt, that could have been doomsday.
Absolutely, but I think the football gods have given the Giants enough pain over the last couple of years. So
this is karma. This is autocorrect.
It's coming back to us. But you're right. They're a tough team to beat. Their defense plays better in the second half when you have to win. Aaron Rodgers, MVP, and they couldn't even get 1 point on the board in the second half. That tells you something about Wink Martindale and what he's instilling in these players. You look at this roster, they got backup corners on back there. They got everybody going down, and it doesn't matter. They keep fighting, just like Lawrence Dexter said. They keep fighting, and they believe in each other, and they're all good towards every other play. The one-play season, kind of forgetting the play before, and it's just fun to watch.
I love what you said about the second half. And Madelyn, this is important. We were talking about it in the lunchroom as we're watching the game.
Yeah.
They held the Packers scoreless, but it was 3 possessions, not counting the final last-second possession, which really doesn't amount for much.
Right.
But here's what you got to remember. Wink Martindale is a master of adjustments. And we're looking at this defense, and they're doing different stuff nearly on every single series. Amani, you're saying, look at that, look at that, look at that. And it doesn't matter who's in the lineup. He is throwing the kitchen sink at that offense, trusting his guys, saying, I believe in you to get this job done.
And not only that, it's against Aaron Rodgers. Right. So you're not just throwing these different blitzes at, a ham sandwich. This is the back-to-back MVP. And if you're on that defense and you're like, man, our defense coordinator's throwing it at Aaron Rodgers. Most people are scared when Aaron Rodgers gets on the field to do anything tricky because they feel like he can, overcome it with his ability with his arm or with his smarts. But it really makes this team hard, formidable, and not only on the defensive side of the ball. Mike Kafka. I mean, this offense is so creative. I mean, Saquon goes out, they have another package. It's not like everybody's woe is me, thinking about, what's happening, who's going to do what. They have answers for everything.
It's like we saw last week, too.
I know you didn't like the
Bellinger move?
You didn't like it, but it
Boy,
has
it was
to be
risky.
done.
It was taken right out of the Kansas City playbook.
I mean, that was one of the most stressful touchdowns I think I've ever seen. We were watching that like, what is going on? And then it's like,
Paul's like, no.
And then it's like, yes, yeah. But you know what?
Shades of Travis
The
Kelce.
roller coaster of emotions is why we love this game, the beautiful game of football. And we're talking about American football this time, even though we played it in London today. All right, we've got more to come after the break. But first, the New York Giants official mobile app is your destination for all things New York Giants. The updated mobile app includes the best Giants highlights, news, videos, photos, and podcasts available for free for Apple and Android phones and tablets. Stick with us. We've got more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, presented to you by NFL All Day. Time now for the Giants scoring drive of the game, presented to you by HCL Tech, supercharging progress, the official digital transformation partner of the New York Football Giants. For the drive of the game, we take you to the fourth quarter. 6 plays, 60 yards, 3 minutes, 34 seconds taken off the clock, capped by a 2-yard touchdown run by Saquon Barkley, giving the Giants a 27-20 lead, their first lead of the game, a lead they would never look back from in this win over the Green Bay Packers. That's a wrap for your drive of the game, presented to you by HCL Tech. Amani, that was a touchdown that I think all of us watching that game just lost our minds.
Yeah, we really did, Madelyn. Just the fact that, we were going down in the last couple of minutes of the game. Saquon was he going to be in the lineup? Was he not? He comes in, and the Wildcat, everybody knows he's running the ball. Everybody knows the ball's going to him, and they score anyway. That's old school football to me.
Old school football is you love to see that getting points on the board.
Well, Glowinski and Brightwell, of course, Madelyn, had the 2 blocks that sprung him around the edge. But I thought the touchdown before that, guys, by Brightwell, when we knew that Barkley had a shoulder injury and we did not know if he was going to come back in the game.
Sure.
And I remember saying to you, Madelyn, I don't think he's going to make it back. I just don't know. And then Brightwell with the 2-yard run, getting a push from the O-line. You see, folks, this team believes in each other. They not only believe in the coaching staff, they believe in each other. Brightwell forcing it in for that touchdown.
And they're playing hard for this head coach. Head coach Brian Daboll is now at the podium.
How's everybody doing? Good. Good, hard-fought win. Again, it came down to the end. Our guys competed for 60 minutes, made a few more plays than Green Bay. They're a good football team. We got things to work on. Obviously, some nicks and bumps and bruises. A long trip back. So, get at it. Go next week.
You were pretty fired up as you were leaving the field. Can you just talk about the emotions of this game and the victory?
Yeah, I just appreciate all the support, the crowd support here. It was obviously a lot of Packers fans. It felt like an away game, which I know was their home game. But at the end of the game, it felt like a home game. So when it feels like that, you put a lot into it each week. Players, staff, coaches. So you get that win and, immediately after you're pretty excited and go to the locker room, drink a water, and come out and do a press conference.
How would you describe what you've seen from your team in the first 5 weeks?
I think they play hard. They do what we ask them to do. They trust in things we ask them to do. They work extremely, extremely hard. I mean, these guys, we practice hard, practice really hard, but we try to practice smart. They play good situational football. It's really not 5 games. It's just this game. We were 3 of 4, I think, in the red zone. They're 2 and 3. What were we on third down? 6 of 10 or something like that. 6 of 11, which was much improved. I thought we were very, very efficient. I thought the quarterback had an excellent game. And he's had a few of those. Maybe his stats don't reflect it, but he's led the team down to wins. He's played good in crunch time, coming back from a little bit of an ankle. So, and really, I give credit to all the guys and all the coaches. Just good group to work with, Bob.
Can you talk about what, Saquon had to go in,
Yeah.
came out, then came back in, just what happened in that whole sequence there?
He went in, he came back out, and he went in, and then he was, and he said he was good. They looked at him. He felt, I kept asking him on the sideline, "You good to go?" He was good to go. We'll see where he's at, but hopefully he'll be ready to go next week. But he's a competitor. That's what I'll say about Saquon. He competes, but I've seen that in OTAs.
Do you believe that this was a statement for your team considering the opponent, the quarterback on the other sideline?
No, I just think it's the next game. That's all these games. You give credit to all the teams you play. They're all good. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is an exceptional quarterback, but again, it's a team game. We have to play well to put ourselves in position. I thought the coordinators did a fantastic job. Wayne Kafka and T-Mac all week, leading up to it, being prepared, getting their stuff done ahead of time, coming out here, adjustments at halftime. Those 3 guys did a great job, and the players followed their lead.
Brian, when you lose key players to injury, why is everybody filling the roles so well? Like Brightwell for Saquon, the corners who come in.
Sure.
Why is it just no?
Well, I give credit to the players first because they have to prepare like they're starting. Everybody talks like it, but we do things during the week where we put guys in. We did a 7-on-7 week with, some of our practice squad players along with our regular squad players. I think the coaches do a great job of getting them ready to go. Joe and I talk about it all the time. Your number can be called anytime. Can be brought up anytime. Maybe it's 2 weeks, but, let's make sure that you're in the playbook, that you understand your responsibilities as a professional, be a pro. And when you're ready to go, again, every player on this roster is here for a reason. So we expect whoever it is to get ready. There's no excuses in the National Football League. Everybody goes through it. Everybody goes through injuries. Everybody goes through downtimes. Everybody goes through a couple losses. I mean, that's just – if you can't handle that, you're probably not made to be in the National Football League. And we got a long way to go still. It's a good win, but there's a lot of things that we got to clean up, and, we'll try to do that.
Brian, did Bellinger have the option to throw that pass on the touchdown?
He did. Yeah.
Where did he
see that made him not do that?
He just thought he could run it in. So it's a play we've run in the past. We threw it for a touchdown. It was on a 2-point play. This one, I just told him, if you can run it in, I trust your legs a little bit more than your arm. I still think you can do it, but if you can do it, go ahead and do it. If you think there's anything that it might get knocked down or a bad play might be happening, we got another down. Let's just line up and go again.
Ryan, second half, you guys 17-0, basically. What changed in the second half for you guys to be able to sort of switch on offense and defense to
Look, I thought the coaches were doing a good job in the first half. I thought they made a few plays, that they drove down. They're a good football team. They had a big one on a pass interference penalty. They got another little pick down there on us. They had some good plays that they made, and we started off a little slow offensively, so they got the ball. They got some momentum, but again, it's a long game. You could start fast and fade out. You could start fast and end fast. There's a lot of different things that can happen. I think what we've preached is let's not worry about the scoreboard. Let's not worry about the results. Let's just focus on the next play, and whoever's in there, let's do your job to the best of your ability, whether it's a coach, whether it's a coordinator, an assistant coach, player, support staff. Those trainers doing a great job. Daniel had a little cut on his hand, getting him ready to go out. Saquon going in and out. It's a collective team effort. Football. Our building it takes everybody, not just a couple people.
Coach, what is the biggest step you see in Daniel this season? You see him from the training camp, but what is the biggest step you see in his play? We saw this drive on the second half. He was really confident, but for you as a coach, what is the biggest step you saw on Daniel Jones?
Yeah, I just say that he comes in ready to go each week. He's very humble. I think it's very, very important to him. He has very good leadership amongst the team. Players got a lot of respect for him, and I know the coaches do too. We have confidence in him. He's done a really good job for our football team, and the things that we've asked him to do, he's done them well. And I'm glad he's our quarterback.
In that situation with the goal to go, they have the ball with that quarterback trying to tie you up late in the game. You guys made a decision to play it out defensively. You weren't necessarily popping your timeouts and thinking that they wanted to score. What went into the mentality and the philosophy there, and your guys come up with play after play, 3 different guys?
Yeah, I'd say we discuss a lot of strategy. I'm back on the defense, and I click over the offense, and I got a private line with a couple of guys, Ty and Cade, and I go to special teams and talk to T-Mac. We just, formulated a plan. Obviously, Wink, Kafka, and T-Mac did a fantastic job of leading their units. And the players, the players get the credit. They're the ones that made the plays in crunch time. Unfortunately, we got this one.
What did you guys make specifically at halftime with the defense? What adjustments did you guys make? Because Aaron and then they really didn't do anything, really, then, aside from the drive, you guys still stopped them.
Yeah, there's always things that you talk about as a coaching staff. Again, we were trying to make those throughout the series. And again, the first half, they got down there in a big, DPI. Then they scored in one. I think it was on the 8 or something where they got down. They had that little play to Mercedes. They made a couple good plays. But I don't think you panic and make wholesale adjustments. There's certain things that you talk about, and I think again Wink did a great job with that, along with the rest of the coaches.
Brian, do you think this is obviously not a normal situation here.
Playing in London?
It's and kind of such a big event feel to it. What does it say that your team was able to withstand it? It's crazy. They allowed for you, allowed for them. This is not the normal type game, and the way you guys handled it in the morning.
I don't know, Paul. I just think the guys just keep playing. We put them in as many stressful situations as we could in OTAs and training camp, and don't flinch when something bad happens. There might be other. We just don't want to flinch. We just want to keep playing. And it's easy to say. I think it's hard to do, but our guys do a good job with it. It's what we try to do every game. Sometimes the outcome is, what we want, and sometimes it's not. But I give credit to our guys. They compete like heck for 60 minutes.
Thoughts on Darius Slayton today? He's had a limited role in the offense for the first couple of weeks of the season. He stepped up with some big plays today.
Slayton, did you say?
Slayton.
Yeah. Again, mental toughness. It's not perfect. it's easy when everything's going great for people. Everything's saying good things about him, and things aren't going. I mean, this kid had a good mindset. I shouldn't say kid, young man, and made the most of his opportunities when he had an opportunity to. So when you make plays, you get more opportunities, and he did that.
Anything else? Okay. All right, Dave.
Y'all leaving tonight that are going back to the U.S. or no?
Tomorrow.
Enjoy your love. Right now.
No promises.
That sound from head coach Brian Daboll is brought to you by Ford. We're going to break down what we just heard, that and much more after the break. Stay with us. We're going to take a quick timeout on Giants Postgame Live, presented to you by NFL All Day. Giants come away 27-22 win over the Packers. Let's go. NFL All Day is the newest way to enjoy the NFL. Collect officially licensed moments featuring top highlights and use them to compete in challenges as you follow the action each week. Head to NFLAllDay.com today. NFL All Day, of course, our presenting sponsor of Giants Postgame Live as we recap the Giants' win over the Green Bay Packers in London at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Guys, we heard head coach Brian Daboll talking about this win before the break. One of the things that stood out is how he said, we don't want to flinch. He keeps his team very even keel, not get too high, not get too low. That's something we hear a lot of coaches say and talk about, but for him to have the awareness and the focus to keep this team on track, what does that mean as a player, Amani?
I mean, it just shows, I really like his demeanor, and I really like the way his overall approach. He says, look, he doesn't play favorites. He says that when he's talking about Slayton. He's like, hey, if you start making plays, you get more opportunities. That's what you want to hear out of a coach. You want to hear somebody just going to get out of the way. If you make plays, you're going to play. And also, I just love the way that he talks about the whole roster. He doesn't just talk about, the guys that everybody talks about. And what that does is let everybody on notice that, hey, at any time you could be in practice. That's something that I've never been a part of, where they take guys from practice squad and put them in there with the starters, because you don't get that many reps. So for him to have that confidence in the entire roster, it tells you something about his mindset and his experience about when he was with the Bills.
I also love the way that he talked about the assistant coaches. Because, folks, let's not forget, the staffs are so much more important than just the head guy, because those are the guys in the trenches, those are the guys in the game plans, those are the guys dealing with the positional coaches and those players, more even so than the head coach.
Right.
And I think it's important to note that the Packers came into this game as one of the most potent running teams in the league. And what did they do in the first half? They threw the ball 2/3 of the time. And the Giants didn't get down. They knew they were in a bit of a hole, down 20-10 at halftime, but they just kept coming and coming and coming and coming. They did not flinch, even though the Packers used an entirely different game plan than what they've used in the first month of the season. These guys were ready.
We saw this back-to-back weeks, right? Some potent running offenses coming in and passing the ball. The Packers come in 94 yards on the ground today, and the defense did a really great job facing that. One of the players who stood out today, Xavier McKinney, is speaking in the locker room. Let's send it down.
Yeah, just that we needed a little bit more energy. We felt like we were playing well, but it wasn't good enough. And I think going out to the second half, we just added another spark. Our leader stepped up, and we went out there and we finished the second half.
It wasn't just leaders as well, though. There were a lot of players that perhaps weren't too high on the depth chart at the start of this season, stepping in throughout the game and making plays.
Yeah, we got a team full of guys, man. We do this as a collective group. Like I said before, we're one unit. We play as a group. We play as a team. So whoever goes down, everybody's always ready to step up when their name is called, when their number is called. So that's what makes us so great, man. It makes it fun because these guys, everybody's locked in. Everybody's all in one. Everybody's on the same accord. And when it's like that, it's easy.
Xavier, can you talk about the job Nick and Justin did? They looked and Justin Lane stepping in once the door went down the corner.
Yeah, they did a hell of a job, man. They did a hell of a job. They were ready to go. So all credit goes to them, man. They didn't have to, we didn't have to talk to them much on being ready to go. They're already prepared. And, when they went out there, they balled. They did what they were supposed to do. And that's all we could ask for.
How big was that Dexter Lawrence sack?
Big, super big. Every sack he get is big, man. So, he one of those guys that can wreck the whole game. And, he is Dex, man. So, he does that a lot. We love having him. I love for him to be, on the front line. It helps us out tremendously, and he always makes plays, so we love it.
That's That sound from Xavier McKinney is brought to you by Ford. Great energy after this Giants win over the Packers in London. We're going to continue to break this down after this quick timeout. But first, the Giants' official connected TV streaming app, Giants TV, brings original video content and game highlights on demand and direct to Big Blue fans. Giants TV is free on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, and in the Giants mobile app.
Yeah, you know, that's a situation where they needed obviously a touchdown. We were up 7, and they were driving. Aaron Rodgers does what he does. You know, that's why he's one of the greatest quarterbacks that's playing right now. And you know, during one of those timeouts, we just talked as a defense and just realized we got to settle down a little bit. Just play a normal series here and just do what we do. We got them to 3rd down. We got them to 4th down. When we get to 3rd and 4th is when we get our really good looks in, and we made a play, and that was a good stop. You know, bend don't break type of thing.
Julian, what was the mindset? Down 17-3, down 27, 10 at the half. What's going through? What's being talked about in the locker room halftime?
Yeah, I mean, it was we're a resilient group, and we felt like on defense, you know, we kind of let them have a few. You know, you have that long penalty on that pass interference. You know, the broken play where in the first series where 18 catches up the middle, runs a little bit, and then gets some points. Stuff like that is, it's big plays. You want to eliminate them, but that happens. And so we realized, we're playing pretty good ball. We're stopping the run, and we're limiting him as much as we can, Aaron Rodgers. And so we made some adjustments at half that we all felt great about. We wanted to apply a little more pressure. We wanted to be stickier in coverage, and we executed defensively. And then offensively, I think we were getting some good looks, and guys are just tough. Those guys who are out there today are tough players. And so they made it work. They're crafty the way they get after things, and they were just, they were resilient the whole time.
That sound from Julian Love is brought to you by Ford. I'd like to give a quick hat tip to his outfit. I wore that last week, Julian. I wore that last week. Check the tape. Yeah, we got to get a Who Wore It Better going on, but, maybe on social media later on. But, this defense was a huge part of today's win, Amani. And, one of the things that we were talking about in this week leading up to this game, Aaron Rodgers has been kind of running more dink and dunk, short yardage passes with a lot of emphasis on yards after the catch, meaning that the emphasis for this defense had to be on that tackling. Julian's one of the cleanest tacklers on this team. What did you see from him and that element of this defense?
Well, their entire secondary. I mean, Adoree Jackson had some very good form tackles, and Xavier McKinney. All these guys are really effective open field tacklers, and it looks easy when you're watching it. But open field tackle, you got one of the best athletes in the world. And you're one-on-one, you have to bring him down to the ground. That's not an easy feat.
And Toom, a lot of times coaches will say that tackling is about effort. And we heard Coach Daboll just talk about before the break about how guys are going all out throughout the entire game, never giving up, always putting out 100%. Well, think about this for a second. We were talking about this in the lunchroom, Toom. Thibodeau was relatively quiet most of the game.
Yes.
Even McKinney, only 4 tackles for him. He's a Pro Bowl caliber player, right? So what happens? 3rd down and 2 from the Giants' 7 with a chance to tie the game. And who steps up? Thibodeau, tip pass. Who steps up on 4th down? McKinney, tip pass. Play to the whistle. Play to the whistle, Madelyn, all 60 minutes.
And it's like that thing that we were talking about last week as well, a thing that bothers you about defensive players sometimes. It's like, no, this play is over. Why are you still chasing after that ball? But this team does it and plays to the whistle, like you said. One player, though, on the offensive side of the ball that we've got to give his flowers, Daniel Bellinger, he's speaking in the locker room now.
A reverse?
Yeah, it was
in the end zone. Talk about it.
Yeah, it's just a great design play. We've been practicing week in, week out, and finally got the chance to run it. And just made a play.
You feel like you're the fastest player on the team now after the way you got into that end zone?
I don't know about that, but just watching Saquon and watching guys make plays, I feel like we needed to make a play, and so we did.
So talk about the offensive mentality going into the second half. Like, what adjustments did you guys talk about at halftime? And like, what was your mindset going into the second half?
Yeah, the biggest thing that we define our team as is resilient. So, the biggest thing coming to the locker room is just be resilient. We said 0-0 on the scoreboard and just went out and just played our football, and we didn't worry about the score. We didn't worry about the crowd. We just went out and played how we play football.
Do you feel as though this is the most complete game you guys have played as an offense so far this year?
I think there's a lot of struggles. We'll have to see the film and see what we can clean up, but there's definitely a lot to clean up. And I'm not sure if it's the most complete game, but I know there's a lot to work on and a lot to improve on.
Daniel Bellinger, who executed one of the most stressful touchdowns we've ever seen in Giants history today. That sound is brought to you by Ford. We've got more to come on the show. Stay with us after the break. We're going to hear from Daniel Jones and much more. Giants Postgame Live presented to you by NFL All Day. We'll be back after this quick timeout. Hey Giants fans, check out the Coach Daboll Show presented by Stop and Shop. We'll look back on tonight's game and a look ahead at next week's matchup. It's the Coach Daboll Show airing every week on MSG and on the Giants social media platforms. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live presented to you by NFL All Day. Sending it now down to the locker room where Daniel Jones is speaking to the media.
Well, I think, didn't learn it today, but I think we got a tough group. Group that's going to compete for 4 quarters and 60 minutes. And, we got down the first half, found a way to fight back there at the end. So I think we've known that. I think we've known we got a tough, competitive group. I thought we showed that today.
How'd the ankle feel throughout the game when you started compared to how you finished? Was there a point where you're like, you know what, there's no issue here. We're completely fine?
It felt good. Felt good throughout the game, and it's been feeling good all week.
What can you say about Mike's kind of play calling throughout the game? He had some tricky plays a little bit. You had some running a little bit more. What did you think? Did that change things a little bit for you guys offensively?
Yeah, I thought he called a great game. I thought, we were creative, especially down in the red zone, and, found a way to make a couple plays. But, that's stuff that we've been practicing, we've been preparing for. And, I thought he called all that stuff at a great time.
With the Bellinger play, did you think you were going to get the pass in the end, or did you know he was probably going to run it in just because of the way the defense was looking?
I think I was ready for it, but I thought he made a great decision there to run it in.
Daniel, does winning this game and the way you guys did it validate for you or to people on the outside that you guys are a good team, that you're one of the top teams?
I don't know. I think we've always had confidence in our group. I think we've believed in ourselves, but how the outside or how other people view us, I don't think we're concerned with that. But we played a good game today, and we'll continue to build confidence, continue to study what we got to do to get better, and continue to improve as a team.
What about you? Do you think?
That sound from Daniel Jones brought to you by Ford as we take a look at DJ's numbers today against the Packers. In the win, did we mention this was a win for the Giants? 27-22 win. Daniel Jones, 21 of 27 passes complete, threw for 217 yards, also added 37 yards on the ground. But another thing that stood out, Amani, we talked about this at the top of the show as well, was how tough this man looks every week, every day, and how much admiration these players in the locker room have for their quarterback.
Yeah, the one thing about Daniel Jones is he doesn't go in the tank. Like, he doesn't get down or depressed. He reminds me a lot of Eli, because that was one of the major strengths that Eli had. It wasn't because he was, flawless at all times. It was when we needed him at his best, he played at his best. He never, in the fourth quarter, no matter how many interceptions you threw, in the fourth quarter he was ready to play, and it reminds me a lot of the way Daniel Jones approaches the game. But if I'm being nitpicky here, which I will be, I would just want one touchdown. Just one. Just throw one in there. You know what I mean? Just get us.
But at least we had no interceptions on that stat sheet either.
That's
so
true
it's,
too.
Or fumbles.
Or fumbles.
That's true
right.
too.
This ball security.
He did complete passes to 8 different targets today, which shows you how he spread it around. And Amani, he carried the ball 8 times. 7 of those carries were in the second half. Only had 1 carry in the first half. I wonder if the Giants were playing possum with him a little bit, to be honest with you.
Maybe. Adjustments, They're making good adjustments.
Giants are looking like a second half team so far this season, too, talking about adjustments, the way they're coming out of the locker room and kind of shifting and pivoting to their opponent.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're off to a 4-1 start. Now, numbers folks out there, I know you know this, but I'm going to let you know anyway. Since 1990, teams that have gone 4-1 in the National Football League have gone to the playoffs 78% of the time. Just thought I'd let you folks know that.
It's on Dottino.
Playoffs?
You did it. You did it.
If I can dream. Little Elvis, why not?
The Palmanac over here. Nothing gets past this man. He's got it in the tank.
Did I tell you that Daniel Bellinger actually had 2 carries in college when he was at San Diego State? Had -2 yards on those 2 carries, but he's done it before.
I mean, now you're just showing off right here. This man is a wealth of information.
I got a lot of energy,
He's
folks.
got a lot of energy, especially after a Giants win right here. We love these right here. We love the W's. Vitamin W is good for all of us. We're going to have more coming up on the show, but first, follow the Giants on social media, would you? Check out the Giants on all various social media platforms. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube for the latest team coverage, breaking news, and content. Pretty much everywhere, but be real out here. We'll be right back with more after this. Hey Giants fans, check out the Eli Manning Show presented to you by Panini Prism Trading Cards. All you have to do is subscribe to the Giants YouTube channel to catch all of the new shows. It's the Eli Manning Show with a brand new episode from London this week. As we take a look at some of the shots from this week's episode, we've got Eli and Sean cruising the streets of London. We had a little fashion show here going on with Carl Banks, Victor Cruz starter, Osi Umenyiora in the house. We got some darts going on. And then perhaps my favorite part of the show, this reveal right here, British presenter Vernon Kay bet against the Giants years ago. His punishment, losing this bet, he had to get a full back tattoo of Eli Manning's face. And the best part about that moment, Eli had no idea that's what he was about to see there. Imagine somebody being like, oh, Amani, let me show you my tattoo, and it's your face.
I just hope he didn't eat before he got a look at that.
Oh, That can't be real. Is that real?
It's real.
He claims it is.
It is very real.
I don't know. I just got to put some water on that to make
I
sure.
feel like all of you fantasy football leagues out there, you got to level up your last place punishment right there after seeing that. The art of that tattoo. Shout out to the artist as well. All right, we're going to send it back down to the field. The Giants improved to 3-0 all time in London. Let's send it down to Sexy Dexy, Dexter Lawrence, who's talking in the locker room.
Yeah, right. It just shows, how much we just locked in the second half. The guys came in the locker room saying, they was giving us their best shot. They was a good football team, and we wasn't playing up to how we know we can play. And we just sat in the locker room and just said, okay, time to turn it on, and we kind of turned it on.
What does the start to this season, 4-1, mean to this football team right now?
It's big seeing where we came from since I've been here, really, and even before. It's just big. It gives a lot of people confidence. It shows that, just the gratitude. I mean, just we happy to be here, honestly. It's just we just got to keep fighting. We got to keep showing and improving each week, like who we are and who we want to be.
That sound from Dexter Lawrence brought to you by Ford. The Giants got to keep fighting after this 27-22 win over the Packers in London. They're going to take a long flight back to New York before preparing to return to MetLife next week. As we take a look ahead, next week's game, the Giants are at home against the Baltimore Ravens Sunday, October 16th at 1 p.m. Coming back from a trip like this, it's a very long flight right there. But you know what? It's good to be playing at home with that. Early thoughts about this Ravens matchup?
Well, the Ravens are playing home tonight as we are on Sunday doing this show live against the Cincinnati Bengals. Right. But I think it's interesting to remember the Giants had the option to take the bye week after the London trip. They thought that this bye week would be too soon for them, so they declined. So the NFL said, okay, you'll get a home game as you come back from overseas, and that's why they'll be home against Baltimore coming up next weekend.
Yeah, I'd like to see Wink Martindale going against his former team and see how they're struggling in the second halves on defensive side of the ball. And the Giants happen to be doing a little bit better in the second half.
Well, quickly, talking about your point about the bye week as well, because had they taken it week 6, that's a bit early in a 17-game season
Absolutely.
For a bye. So they push it now. It comes after the Seahawks game, more of a midpoint. As a player, do you like it better that way, or would you want it after the long trip?
Absolutely, I'd like it later on in the season because, you feel like you can push through a couple of injuries and things like that. But later on in the season, when you really kind of get to a point where you think some of these little minor injuries are getting major, You get that little week off. Mentally, just get a chance to decompress. You definitely want it later on. You don't want 10 weeks of straight football. That would be really tough.
Now, to be fair, the Giants had some guys nicked up coming in, and then they got some more guys nicked up today. So that's really a 50-50 deal. Maybe it helps, maybe it hurts. I don't know. We'll see.
But it's why they put intermission in the middle of the show, right?
Exactly.
You know, you got to have a
You need a little
midpoint.
break.
You got to need a little break. You need a break. I don't know. Maybe we'll get these guys 2 bye weeks in years coming up. Let's float that one to the league office. You never know, but this will be a fun one. Giants headed back to MetLife Stadium. We hope to see you out there. We'll be back after the game, as we are every week, with more Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by NFL All Day. For Amani, Toomer, Paul Dottino, I'm Madelyn Burke. Thanks for hanging with us. 4-1. 4-1. 4-1.